Hi, this is Gina. Welcome back if you watched my first video, and thank you so much if you did. A few people did watch it, so I thought I would try again with a second video. Just a reminder sort of what I'm about. I am trying to put more content in there or out there in the world that focuses on the love of color. I love color and have found a little bit of a hard time finding the YouTube channels that have lots of color, and also that focus on not just the few really big name designers, but smaller designers as well. So yeah, that's what I am up to and am about. And although I say I love color, you will see today I am wearing one of my least colorful sweaters, but it is very high contrast, as you will see. So I'll stand up a little bit so you can see. Sorry, I'm too close to the camera. Go ahead. This is Caitlyn Hunter of Boyland Knits Ghost Horses pattern, and I did modify it a fair amount. I mean, just small modifications, but and I'm one that, like, I don't even mention if I don't consider a modification if I change the length of like the sleeves and things like that, because I come from a sewing background first, and like the expectation when you sew garments is that you're gonna have to modify everything. Like nobody is gonna fit a garment out of the box, at least not perfectly, unless like the block they were designing for was your block. And so that's kind of how I approach knitting as well. Like everything is gonna need some modifications. And some designers who are designing for their bodies, which are different from your bodies, are gonna require more modifications. So Ghost Horses, what I did on this one, first of all, I got the idea for just doing this very simple black and white version from Raveler Stormy K9s. That was her idea first, so just wanted to put that out there. I definitely did not come up with it. I was inspired as I was looking through the Ghost Horses makes. So let's see, for modifications, I did not do the color work all the way down. I think I haven't looked at the pattern in a while, but my recollection is that it is a whole body color work, and I did not do that, obviously. And let's see, my notes say I did a quick and dirty full bust adjustment by moving my sleeve stitches back. So this is a circle yoke sweater, which just means it's literally a big circle. And so what I was doing by moving my sleeves back was creating more space in my front. If I take the measurement of my front versus my back, my front is about 4 to 5 inches larger, depending on the day and the bra, than my back. So circle yokes, which are divided usually just straight in half, are obviously not going to be ideally suited for my particular body composition. So I moved, my notes say I moved the sleeves back by 8 stitches each sleeve. So just to create a little bit more room in the front. I also did some waist shaping. I have a very curvy figure, pretty hourglass shaped, and so like the current trend towards very boxy and very oversized sweaters are really not a great fit for my particular body. Like I mean, it's fine if you like them on yourself, but I don't like them on my body. I don't feel like I look my best. Often those boxy and very oversized things, they come off my chest and just hang down, and I feel like just don't suit my shape well. So makes me feel better to do a little bit of waist shaping. So that's just where you take a few stitches out, and then you can add them back in, because I do have larger hips, so I definitely want to add back that space in, and that just creates a little bit of a curve shape, which is a little bit more, I feel like, suits me better. let's see, I used Knit Picks High Desert Sport for this. The kind of cream natural color is called Cottonwood, and the black color is called Lava Fields. And I love this yarn. If I could knit with just one thing forever, it would, I mean, for most things, for most garments, it would probably be this. It is out of my price range to knit way too much, you know, to do too many things with it, but it is really nice. It's I didn't write down the composition, but I know it has Shanico wool, I think, so it's like an American based wool production ranch that they get the wool from, and I think it's all made in the USA, so it's like totally reasonable that it has a higher price point. It's just one that is beyond my means, unless it goes on heavy sale or it's a splurge, but I do love it. It's not super wash, but it is next to Skin Soft, and it's also not merino. But again, next to Skin Soft. I'm wearing this with nothing on under, and it feels totally fine. Now, usually I do wear something under just to like protect it from sweat because it's short sleeved, which was another modification I made. And so that means I'm usually wearing it when it's a little bit warmer temperature. I'm not wearing it in the middle of the winter, so I do want to protect it from sweat, so I usually do wear like a tank top under it. But love this wool, and was really happy with how this sweater came out. Next up, I thought I would show you my Flock of Flamingos cowl, which I was working on in my last video. I had not completed that yet. Reach forward and get it here, sorry about that. Also, just I haven't really said this, but I will say it now. I do not have the inclination, the ability, or the time to do video editing. I love to see other people's beautifully edited videos with all the little fun additions and, you know, funny things that they put up on the screen, and like the insets showing you the patterns and all that good stuff. I don't have time to do that. I would rather be knitting, and if I'm going to do this at all, like, it is definitely going to be one take and slap it up. So I am, you know, I understand that's not everybody's cup of tea. Some people want a lot more professionalism than what I can provide, but if you enjoy just rambling, listening to other people ramble, which I am totally fine with, I have several of those types of podcasts that I listen to, and I enjoy them. So I'm making content for people who do not mind unedited, non-glorious, non-high production value videos. Okay, so here is my finished Flock of Flamingos cowl. And this is by Stephanie Lotven of Tellybean Knits. And it's just a little bandana cowl. You can see my adorable little flamingos, which were not finished the other day when I showed it. So cute. And the suns, again, so cute. And up here in the neck area, we have these very cool trees. And look, these are falling coconuts. Those are supposed to be coconuts falling out of the palm trees. So cute. I talked about this last time, but I like Stephanie's cowls. Like the shape of them. I find them easy to wear. And yeah, easy, very easy to wear. And speaking of that, I was going to share my husband, who works from home, had at some point last year, I noticed that he had stolen my Cowloween cowl. I talked about this last time, but I made several of Stephanie's Halloween cowls, and I think the Cowloween was her first one. And that's the one I'm talking about. It's the one with like bright pink. It's like mine is made in sort of neon colors, pink, orange, and green. And so I had that sitting out around Halloween time when I had worn it, and my husband, I noticed, had stolen it and was wearing it while he was at work, working in the home office. And so I decided I should, you know, I'll make him his own cowl that's a little more masculine. I mean, it's fine if he wants to wear my fluorescent pink and orange and purple one, but I thought he might like something else that might look a little bit more professional on his Zoom meetings and so forth. So I signed up to test this cowl, which is by Briana Arlene. I talked about her last time on my first episode. I just finished her Cloud Peaks socks, which have released. Fantastic pattern. Definitely recommend those. But I knitted this Aberration cowl by Briana Arlene last summer, and I was thinking, you know, my husband could use it, and so I knitted it in sort of more gender neutral colors. I love this very autumnal palette that I picked. These are all Stroll, Knit Picks Stroll Tweed, just various colors of that. I think I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 different colorways of the Stroll Tweed. Love this cowl. So this one, I'm not gonna put it on because I'm gonna take the Flamingo one off in a minute because it is too warm to be wearing all of this wool. But this one sits a little bit higher. It's not as long as, I don't feel like once you get it on, it's not as long as Stephanie's cowls usually are on me. It also has a different shape. It's got these spines going down. So it, I don't like it better or worse. It's just different. It just fits differently. Definitely a little closer to the neck. So made this with my husband in mind. He did not ever seem to be interested in wearing it, even when I was, you know, like sort of showing it to him, saying, don't you want to wear this? But I wore this several times last year to various things. It is super warm, super squishy. This 1x1 Colorwork just makes it, you know, it's double layered. So super squishy all the way through. I will say that this one required purling in the flat because these kinds of cowls don't get joined in the round right away. You start, like, this portion up here is all going to be flat. So this top section was all involved purling with Colorwork, which is not my favorite. It's just, I love Colorwork, find it super soothing and meditative, but not so much when I have to purl. So I try to avoid that. My very first Colorwork actually was a purled, it was like a baby cardigan, and it was knit in the flat because that was before I really knew how to alter something. Like, I didn't know about steeking and all that good stuff. And so I knit it in the flat, and my first Colorwork did involve purling, and I made it through and it looked fine. It looked cute. But then I discovered Colorwork in the round and it was so much better. So just a warning about that one, the Aberration cowl. But I do think it is worth it. The remembrance of how much I didn't like that has pretty much faded. I just saw my notes on Ravelry when I was making notes for what I wanted to talk about, and so I thought I would warn you. But wonderful, wonderful pattern. And so since he didn't wear that cowl, I decided I would try again. And for Valentine's Day of this past year, I made him the Moonflower collar by Sari Nordlund. Oh, look at those cables. Look, it's so pretty. Super, super pretty. And here, I think this is the back side. I don't know. I have to play with it to remember which way is the front and the back. I think the smaller side is the back. But there's that, and it's got pretty cables, just cables everywhere. pretty shoulder detail up here. I made this out of Woolfolk Får, which one of my knitting friends from Ravelry had told me about. She said that she had picked some up and it was the softest yarn that she had ever touched. And so I was like, I gotta get my hands on that. And so I looked through destashes on Ravelry until I found some that looked like it was a color that he would be okay with, that I thought would work for this pattern, and ordered that. So it is super soft. It feels so good. It's like, I can't really tell now, but my recollection from working with it is that it's like a chainette construction. So it feels very interesting. Like I've never used a chainette that was all wool, because I think this is like very fine micron count merino. It would be amazing to have a whole sweater in this, but it does pill. And you can see like on the collar here that it's already like pilling. Let's see if I can get that to focus. And the reason I'm thinking about both of these cowls is actually they were laying over on the floor at the end of my bedroom, waiting to get their bath and be put away. So yes, it is July. The knits will be coming out again in probably October, and I am still trying to get everybody washed and packed away for the summer, which is now fully underway. So I'm gonna take this Flamingos off because it is getting warm. Here's the construction in case you've never seen how one of these are made. So most of this, the tree section here, it, goes inside and you don't really see that. But Stephanie always does something like fun up at the top. And so I love her patterns. I always feel like I learn something new when I'm making those. Like I had definitely never done the stitch that was used here, and I talked about last time, but she just really thoughtfully thought through how to make these little palm tree stitches as easy as possible for the knitter. So really, really appreciate that. Just super thoughtful. And my ends are all woven in and everything, and this is ready to go. I think I'm going to be gifting it. So yes, that is all of my cowls. Also, I talked about last time, but forgot to bring it in to show you, the Moonglow top. And I can't wear this one yet. I would love to wear it and show it off because I do think it looks super cute. It's super summer appropriate, but we can't show full modeled body pictures of it yet. So I'll just show you a little sneak peeky. This is the Moonflower top by Zanete Knits. So I looked it up after I was like, I don't actually know how to pronounce that. So I went on her YouTube and heard her pronounce it, and she said Zanete. So Zanete Knits, and this is the back shoulder that I'm showing you. Let's see, here's the front. This is the front, but I love the little shoulder detail. It sits so nice on me, on the back. I mean, when people talk about necklines and things like not working on them, sometimes I don't know how much stock to put in that because, again, all of our bodies are different. And so what works on me may not work on somebody else, and what works fine for somebody else may not work at all on me. But I love the way that this sits on me. I can't wait to show it. I think that the curving lace pattern, like, I don't know. I just think it looks good. I think it looks good on my curvy body in particular, but there are some much thinner testers who have made it, and I think it looks really cute on them as well, who are wearing it a little more oversized. Mine doesn't have, it only has negative ease on like across the bust, because I chose a size based on my upper bust measurement. I have definitely found that is the way to go if I don't want something just to look way too oversized, which this is like almost, this is, I feel okay in this, but this is getting pretty oversized. I did the size 44, which is probably way less positive ease than Caitlyn Hunter calls for. I don't remember, but you know, when they call for like 8 to 10 inches of positive ease, there's no way am I doing that. But yeah, this one's got quite a bit of positive ease on me, which means it is like quite long, but I think it works. At least I'm happy with how this one works. But super happy with this. Again, I use Knit Picks Cotlin, and this is in the color Merino, and it did not hurt my hands like I feel like cotton often does. Again, I don't know if that's to do with the yarn. Maybe this yarn, I don't know. Maybe it's just easier on the hands, or it could be that I was using my Mindful needles from, are they Knitter's Pride? I don't know. I bought mine from Jimmy Bean's Wool. I like to use them for needles, but the Mindful needles are pretty slick metal of some variety, and they're fairly pointy, which is why I use them for this lace. And so I don't know if it was the combination of the two or the needles that made the difference or what, but it didn't hurt, which I was very grateful for. And I got, let's see, just under 6 balls of this Cotlin yarn out of my stash, which makes me happy. So according to my notes, I used about 615 yards of Cotlin, and that was to make this size 3, which I think was maybe like maybe 42 inches. I'll have to see when she puts out the pattern. Okay, so last time I showed a bunch of finished objects that I had worked on this summer. So in this one, I thought I would show some more works in progress, because I do have quite a few. I tend to be fairly monogamous. Like, I like to have one kind of big project going on, and then maybe 1 or 2 other projects that are more mindless. I mean, I always have a pair of socks. I'm not going to show you guys those because my socks are out in the car, and they look like socks. So there's not much to show about those, but yeah, I don't know. Apparently I was in a testy mood this summer and just signed up for all the tests. So I ended up with several different big projects going on, and then now that those are finally getting wrapped up, well, then we went on a car trip across the country, and I needed something to work on, and none of my projects, like I had a cable project that I was still working on that required me to have my iPad open. This vest made me learn how to use Knit Companion, y'all. I've always heard of Knit Companion, but I had never felt the need to use it until I started working on this Lochten vest. And after you get everything joined, you're working on 3 charts, and I kind of tried for a while to make it work like with 2 cookie sheets and my chart keeper, like reading the different charts on them, but like then it turned out I had colored one of my charts, like the cable's wrong, like I missed anyway, and I messed myself up so that I had to go back and rip out like hours worth of work because I had just colored my chart wrong, and I was so mad. And so I finally I just bit the bullet and downloaded Knit Companion and had to stop and like watch tutorials on how to use it, because it does work, and it is really amazing, but I don't find it like super intuitive to use. But like with the tutorials, I was able to figure out how to join those 3 charts so that they were all on one page, so I didn't have to like scroll up and down or try to read across 3 cookie sheets. And it will highlight things for you, like the highlighter lines are really nice. But what I even I don't know, even definitely more than the lines. What I wanted it for was it will, like, you can select a symbol in the chart and it will go through and find all of those symbols for you. And then like you can color them, whatever. Cause I always color my cable charts because I'm just really, really bad at left and right things. And so I think a lot better if I can visually, if they're all colored the same, the ones that are the same. So it will do that for you and it won't do them incorrectly like I did. And then, you know, have to rip out all of my work. So, so I finally learned Knit Companion. So all of that to say, I did take that project with me, but I did not want to work on it when I was in the car. I also was working on my stowaway pullover, which I sort of teased the other day. But that one has like 5 balls of contrast colors plus the main color. Like, it was Colorwork, so it was also not really appropriate for car knitting. And so I ended up starting 3 projects while I was on the car ride to and from New York. And so I have several sort of larger item whips in progress, which is a little bit unusual for me. But first, I will show you my progress on Lochten, the vest, which I am thrilled. It's almost finished. All I lack is the, I need to put on the buttonhole row. I need to put on that ribbing. So I've got my ribbing now on the front, my front button band. And it's made in fisherman's rib. Oh, it's so squishy. I think I've never actually done fisherman's rib before. I've done a little bit of brioche and half brioche. And maybe some half fisherman's rib, but I've never done full fisherman's rib before, and it's so squishy. So squishy. It kind of reminds me of some like booties I made once that were double knitted on the bottom. It just, oh, so squishy, especially in this Purl Soho good wool. Like, is very lofty and squishy. So I have to I'm putting on the buttonhole side of the button band, and I think I may have done that backwards. Sharon of Riverroad Knits, who I'm testing this for, like, actually gives like super explicit directions on, okay, now if you typically on women's garments, the buttons are on this side, and typically on male garments, they go on this side, so you pick whatever you want. And I read them, I was like, okay, I'll do the female sided ones just because that's probably what I'm more used to. I don't really care. And then I think I didn't do it right because my aforementioned left and right problems that I have. So anyway, the buttons are gonna go on this side, the left side, whether that is right or wrong. I also knitted my pockets last night, so I just have to block those insides and sew them down, and then once I get this on, I will be done. I did go through my button stash, and I did find some buttons that are actually super duper close to the side. I forgot to bring them in here with me. They're close to this color, sorry. And yeah, so that's what I'm going with. I had just the perfect number of them. It really worked out. I thought I would show you guys this little tool from my garment sewing days that I had acquired, because Sharon has really good instructions on like how to figure out, you know, where to place your buttons, how to space them, how to do the math on that. But I have this guy that just like you just put your top and bottom buttons where you want them, and then you stretch this guy out and you can figure out where to, like, it tells you where to place your buttons evenly. So I used that to figure out that I had the perfect number of buttons to go down this and have them perfectly spaced. So I'm sure mine will not end up perfectly spaced because I'm just not that good at doing those sorts of things, but hopefully it will be good enough. And I always tell myself I'm a moving target and most people are not going to notice it. So yeah, but really happy. I can show you the back now. I didn't show you the back the other day. Oh, the sun's shining through that. There we go. So pretty. So pretty. That lattice back. And I'm sure that I have some miscrossed cables somewhere in here because, again, not that good with right and left. Something about it just confuses me, but I think it's good enough. It's gonna look really good. I think I may have said I was worried about whether it was going to fit. I think it's gonna be fine. So not a ton of positive ease, but this pattern actually didn't call for a ton of positive ease. So yeah, I think it's gonna work. I may not end up buttoning it all the way up. Like, I'm definitely envisioning myself sort of leaving off, from maybe full bust up, not buttoned, partly just because I feel like very high-necked things do not look very good on me. Like V-necks look good, things that sort of, you want the eye to be pulled down a little bit. And I think it will look cute with like a, contrasting colored shirt underneath and unbuttoned a little bit. Okay, so that was Lochten. And when, since I'm almost completely finished, I can definitely say that it's going to use less than 3 full balls of Purl Soho good wool, and that is in the red prune colorway. Okay, next work in progress, and that is the tangled up here, T number 1. Is that right? Yes, T number 1 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. It's got a folded hem here on the bottom. It's got folded hems on the sleeves. And I am almost finished. I just need to finish up this collar, which is going to get, I don't know, I have literally like, I don't know, I may even be ready to bind off on this. I'll have to count my rows. I had to rip this collar out and redo it because I didn't read the directions, and I was thinking it was just a turned hem like the other ones, and that you like knit 10 rows and then did a purl row and then knit 10 rows. So I did all of that and then read the directions, and I don't think you do a turning row, and also I don't think it was 10 rows that you do. And also, more importantly, you are supposed to pick up from the inside and then knit it, and it makes a little detail, the bound off edge, like you sew it down to the outside. And I had picked up, like you normally do with the right side facing. So I had picked it up completely backwards. So I had to rip out the whole collar. And anyway, this is why you should read the directions before you start doing something, rather than just assuming that you know what you're doing after turning all those other hems. Okay, so about this, let's see, I made this, I'm doing the size 4, and this is in Purl Soho's linen quill in blue pansy, and it's a really pretty, I would call it a blurple color. Super pretty. Okay, so last summer-ish, fall, I did a sample knit of this garment, of the T number 1 pattern for Paisley of Horizon Knits, Horizon Yarn, Horizon Fiber. Fiber spelled the Canadian way, B-R-E. Horizon Fibers, in one of her bases. I loved the base, and I kept thinking about it, kept thinking about her base, which was like wool and linen and maybe some alpaca. And I had been thinking about it because I really enjoyed working with it. It was not as hard to work with as hard on the hands as linen normally is. It had great drape. Anyway, and I had just kept thinking about it so when I made the T number 1 for Paisley, I hated it. Like I didn't hate the garment once it was finished, but I hated the pattern. You know, I was talking earlier about Stephanie Lotven and how she, in Tellybean Knits, she thinks through every step really carefully to make the experience easy on the knitter. I felt like T number 1 is kind of the opposite of that. Have I cleaned them up yet? I'm looking to see if I've already woven in my ends here. I don't think I have, but there are so many ends and yarn breaks to make this tee. And like there's, I don't know, like there was this, it was just so frustrating because like there has to be an easier way to do this. I don't understand, you know, knitting construction enough. Like I always follow the pattern. I don't like to make changes just because I don't feel confident that I am understanding the architecture of what is being done until after I've already made something, at least once and maybe more, to feel like I can successfully make changes. And I was just really frustrated the first time I knit this because it wasn't hard, but it was just like there were just so many yarn breaks. And there were also some things that like directions that came at the end of a section when would have been really helpful to have had those before, like at the beginning of the section. Like they should have been a big glaring, like put in your contrast thread here before you start everything else. Instead of saying after she's given you all the instructions, you know, for your hem, and then saying, oh, by the way, you probably want to start by putting in a contrast thread so that you'll be able to pick up your stitches easier. Anyway, just things like that really irritated me. So I thought the finished garment was really beautiful. It looked great. I was happy to send that off. But yeah, I was like, oh, I hate this. I hate the pattern. I'm never going to make that again. Well, then I kept thinking about it like all winter long. I was like, you know, like I kind of like that. But then I was like, well, I don't have the yarn for it. So, you know, cause I really liked Paisley's yarn, that she had chosen for that. And I was like, I don't have that. So, you know, well, then I, did the Lochten tee that I was wearing in my last video, and that was my first time trying Purl Soho's linen quill, and I was like, oh, the base that Paisley had sent to use for that was basically the same. Like, I mean, it felt, I don't know if the yarn composition, I mean the composition is exactly the same, but it definitely had that, very much that feel. So I think it was kind of a, you know, a dupe for the linen quill. Highly recommend both of them. They're both really nice. Anyway, and so then once I knew, you know, I could get my hands on linen quill, I was like, oh, I think I might want to make one of those. So that is where this came from. And really I just have a little bit to get finished. I think I just stopped working on this because I had these test knits and I was like, I gotta get those done. And this is just for me. So yeah, I just need to sit down and reread those collar instructions and figure out where I am. And 'cause I don't know, do other people do this? I put down projects and think I'm gonna pick them back up like soon after, you know, like within a couple of days, because that is normally what I do. And so, you know, I remember what I was doing. But then when I put down something and haven't worked on it for 3 weeks, which is definitely the case for this, I have no idea where I was, and I didn't leave myself notes, and I'm doing good if I just leave the needles with something so I at least know what needle size I was doing, but I do not leave myself good notes. Yeah, I'm trying to be better, but I really like the saddle shoulder construction on these. I do think I'm gonna have to rip out, or will want to rip out the sleeves. The sleeves are longer than, I'll try it on once I get the collar on so I can finally see really where it's gonna sit. But like they were coming down a little below my elbow, which I like, that's a lot of sleeve. I don't know. Actually, I really like the length of these sleeves. I don't like I don't know. I like my arms. And yeah, I don't have a problem with them being more shown off. So we'll see what that looks like, once I get the collar on, which I need to do. And let's see, according to my notes, I am making the size 4, in the T number 1. And yeah, I think I've used most of 3 balls of the linen quill, again in blue pansy. So I am planning on I should have leftover of that. I'm collecting all my leftovers because I have a vision for like a striped tee at some point down the line when I've collected some other colors, because I can definitely see more linen quill in my future. I really like the hand feel. It has a very interesting texture. It's not painful. So far, I don't find it itchy. I mean, like, I wouldn't wear it in 100-degree days, but like, I think it'll be really good for transitional weather for us. So like when it's in the 70s, in the 60s, I think it'll feel nice. And it's got great drape, excellent drape. Love the drape. Okay, so T number 1, what else? All right, so also on the trip, I first cast on the Why Not, I'm not sure if it's a T, I don't know. I think it's just called Why Not. But it's like it's a sweater-ish. I don't know. I can't remember now in the pictures, whether, actually I have my iPad here. Let's see if I can just get it pulled up. I'm not sure if it's a long-sleeved or short-sleeved, in the original version, but I'm definitely planning on doing short sleeves. And did I say it's by, yeah, okay. Rachel Ilsley. So it's kind of like, she has this whole series, about that's sort of like macrame inspired. I just think they're really cute. And I have bought a bunch of her patterns. She's Rachel Ilsley of Unwind Knits. Unwind Knitter? Let's see. Unwind Knitwear. And I have never actually made it. She has tons of color work that's super pretty. But haven't made any, but I was like, this should be a relatively quick summer knit. I think it will be cool because it's very lacy. So you do all of these really interesting knot stitches in the yoke, and then it just turns into stockinette once you get past the yoke. Hopefully I'm showing you the right side. Actually, I think I may be showing the wrong side. No, that one looks better. Okay, so that is sorry, it's at that point where it's kind of hard to tell what's going on. There's not enough of it. So I'm making this out of Knit Picks Hawthorne Speckled. It's the tie-dye speckle color. So even when I'm doing neutrals, I love the color in this. I'm not 100% sure that this is the best choice for the pattern, although Rachel in her original sample also uses a speckle, which is where, you know, I kind of got the idea to do that. I definitely think the little lacy patterns would show off better if it wasn't speckled, but look at those, aren't those cute? Anyway, I put this on hold because I was in the car. I cast this one on first and I did not swatch, and I haven't made any of Rachel's patterns before, so like I don't know how my gauge runs versus hers. And so I just did some poking around in my past projects, looking at what I normally get on Hawthorne, and I dove in with size 6s, I think. Not that I don't really find it useful when people on YouTube talk about what needle size they used for things, because, you know, my gauge is going to be, like, what needles I need to get gauge with is going to be different from anybody else, because we all tension our yarns differently, and we're using different yarns. At least I'm always using a different yarn than what was called for in the pattern. So some people, you know, I've seen people complain about designers who use too expensive of yarns, which I don't really understand, because, like, just substitute. Like, there's no knitting police out there that says you have to make this in whatever yarn somebody else has used. So I substitute almost everything, and yeah, but I stopped working on this, not because I wasn't having fun. I thought the stitches were really neat, but I was like, you know what, I need to stop and put this on longer cords and try it on before I keep going, because I just wanted to make sure that, you know, I had something that was going to go over, you know, the parts of my body, my shoulders and stuff that it was going to have to. And at this point, it's been too long since I worked on this, so I don't really remember how much further we had to go until sleeve separation, but it's definitely going to be, I think it'll be big enough. I say definitely, but I don't know. I don't remember how much longer there is. So anyway, I am looking forward to finishing this now that I have almost finished my obligations of test knitting. I will get back to working on that. Probably before I work on that one, though, I'm going to finish this guy, which is, it's not much to show here. This is actually quite a few hours of car knitting to get to this point. But you just can't tell because it's on short cords. This is the classic LBD by One Wild Designs. Jennifer, I can't read my own writing here. Perocchini. Sorry, Jennifer. I am not totally sure how to pronounce your last name. But it's One Wild Designs classic LBD, and I'm making it in Knit Picks Elixir yarn, the Elixir base, and it is making quite a firm fabric. I love the color of this. This color is hibiscus, and I think I got this, I got a tea quantity of this at their last big sale in November. I think I got this in another really pretty jewel toned color. Because I think at the time I have tried the Elixir before and I liked it okay, and I think I was thinking about using this Elixir to make like another one of those tea number ones, but that was before I had discovered linen quill. Because I was like, well, this has got, it's kind of the same idea. Let's see, did I write it down? It's alpaca, wool, and linen. So it is like the same fibers that are in linen quill, but this feels completely different. So to me, often alpaca has almost a greasy feel to it, and that sounds gross, but I actually really like that feeling. And this has a little bit of that. It also has, which I know this bothers some people, but like, can you see? Yeah, see it against my face. It has these like dark, this is the linen fiber sticking out there, and the linen in this is black in the Elixir. It's like a really dark colored linen rather than white. So like in linen quill, I think this is how it works. These I think this is the linen content, the white stuff, because it doesn't take up the dye the same way that the wool and the alpaca does. And so in Elixir, it's dark, and I like both of them. I really like heathered yarns, and so I like both of them, but they are different, and Elixir feels very different. So linen quill feels dry, very dry. Elixir feels greasy. Again, not in a bad way, but because I find it pleasant, but it is different, and it's heavier. It definitely feels heavier. And I don't know if it's just the gauge that I have knit at, but I don't find Elixir to be as drapey as linen quill. So yeah. So all of that to say, I think I got this originally thinking maybe I could use it to do my own tea number 1, because I do really love this like deep rosy color. But then I found linen quill and I was like, I'm just gonna make that one out of this. So I thought that the classic LBD would be really pretty in this. The classic LBD has a V-neck, which like I said earlier, I really like V-necks on me. And One Wild Designs, their big thing is trying to help knitters to make garments that fit their bodies. And so this is going to be my first garment where the pattern actually is written so that you can incorporate cup sizes. I know there are several designers like Amy Scher who has been doing this recently, and I want to try some of theirs at some point, but I'm gonna start with this one first. So this is gonna be my first time using short rows to increase for my bust, and I'm hoping that that will keep my little shirt here from pulling up in the front, because yeah, you know how you put short rows in the back so that the back comes down lower so it doesn't like choke you in the front. Like that's all well and fine. Like I don't want my garments choking me, but what ends up happening on me because of the full bust situation is that I end up with like my garments looking almost cropped in the front, and then they're mullets, right? They're cropped in the front, and definitely a long tail in the back. So I'm getting like a what do they call those shirt tail looks, like without intending to. So I'm hoping that this will help, and then I'm hoping once I have a pattern that walks me through how to do this, I'll be able to do that on my own in the future. And as you can see, both of these are knit top down, which is definitely my preferred way to go. That's what's held me back from trying some of Amy Scher's patterns, because like they're super cute, but I don't like bottom up. I also don't like seaming, which some of those lately have had seaming involved, and yeah, I do not enjoy seaming. Okay, last item. So first, this is another little bag that I had made when I was being very inspired by Stephanie at Edible Thoughts Makes to make bags. And there's some thrifted yarn. I think I said last time I love to thrift. And I got a big bag of 6 of these. So it was actually a really big bag. 6 woolies. Thick and quick. And I didn't really take the time to realize that these were bulky. Are they bulky or are they super bulky? They're super bulky. Super bulky. I think I said last time, I don't even like working with bulky. Like worsted is really about as thick as I like to go on my yarns. So didn't really realize that this was super bulky until I'd already gotten it home. And so 6 balls seemed like it was a whole lot, but it's actually, when they're only 87 yards per ball, that actually is probably not enough for a garment for me. So, I decided to make an emotional support chicken out of it. I also have this, which the label for this is actually in the car where I was working on it the last time. And so this is other thrifted yarn that I got several years ago. But it's gonna make a super cute chicken. I think he's gonna be blue. So I got this far. I had no idea when I bought this that this is actually some kind of gradient. Anyway, I think it's gonna be really cute. And so yeah, that's just living in a bag until I get back around to working on it. And I have giant needles in there, which I don't like to leave my needles in projects that are hibernating, because then I forget where they are and I can't find them. But those are really big needles and I hardly ever use that size. So not a great loss to leave the needles in. But yeah, I think that's all I have. And once again, I have rambled for almost an hour. So, sorry, I'm looking around thinking, do I have anything else? I don't think I have anything else definitely don't have anything to show. I'll try and remember to put, some light bulb stitch markers in my, sweaters that I was working on in the car, so maybe it can track progress. If and when I film again, I can feel like a real YouTuber and show you how much progress I've made. But yeah, I think that's all I have. If you know of designers that I should be looking at who are designing for curvy bodies, who are like always incorporating things like, full bust adjustments and things like that, I would love those recommendations. Would also love recommendations of other folks who are into knitting with color, since that's kind of my whole thing. So definitely would love to be turned on to some others. So if you know of anybody, please leave a comment and tell me who I should be looking at. Thanks so much for watching, and maybe I'll see you again next time.